Well, we will go ahead and jump right in. We good to go on your end?
Sure. You want me to start talking?
I'd love to do the formal introduction.
I'll let you go do your job then.
There you go. Okay. Well, we would like to welcome the tournament director. Let's start that again.
That's close enough.
The tournament host.
He's out there.
Jack Nicklaus of the Memorial Tournament presented by Workday. Thanks for joining us for a few minutes. 47th edition, full capacity this year. A lot of good things to look forward to, and coming off a good one last year with Patrick Cantley adding to the list of wonderful champions of the tournament. With that said, just a few opening comments from you, if we could.
Well, last year, after we redid the golf course, we couldn't do the things we wanted to do with the golf course to get it properly prepared for the tournament. The grass was too young and everything else, but I think we were extremely successful in having a good presentation last year. This year, now that we've had a year of maturity, the fairways are excellent. The greens are, the guys were coming in today and telling me how firm they were. And, I like firm greens, but I don't like ridiculous greens. I like them so that if you play a good shot, you're rewarded, and the ball will take it, run out a little bit, but it won't hit and go. So, Chad, you listening to me? Chad Mark, our superintendent back here, and that's and a good shot is not rewarded, but a bad shot is not rewarded, but a good shot is. So the greens are that way. The rough is not particularly thick this year. I don't know why that is, but I think but there's plenty of it. Certainly around the greens, there's plenty of it. The golf course is excellent. I played it for the first time. I played it Saturday and Sunday, and I didn't play it last year. I didn't play golf last year. So anyway, I cruised it around Sunday in '84. That was pretty good for me. Wow, that's pretty good, huh, Rob? Yeah, without making a putt. And without making a birdie, that's all right. Anyway, the golf course is good. As we say, we're going to have full crowds this year. I was surprised yesterday. We had a pretty nice crowd on Monday yesterday. Tomorrow, I think we expect a big crowd. I think Workday is Anil Busri was back in the back here. Anil has gotten a star-studded field of athletes and personalities coming in tomorrow, so I think the people will love to see that. So they're going to have a good day there, and we're ready for the golf course is ready for Thursday.
Okay, that sounds good. And Rob put his hand in early, so we'll start with Rob with the question here.
Jack, 47 years. You've talked about this before, but can you take us back to the vision for this tournament, and has it exceeded your expectations? What did you want to achieve? Was this a combination of giving back to Columbus and your own design?
Well, Rob, you've known me long enough that nothing ever exceeds my expectations. I'm continuing to continue to do better, but I think the tournament's done fantastic. We started the tournament in '76. I guess was the first year of the tournament. We started out to do a tournament for the Central Ohio area and around to bring golf back here to the place I was supported as a youngster, to thank them for all that they did for my life, and part of what that was, I wanted to bring first-class golf here. Without Ohio State football at that time, it was 6 Ohio State football games. There really wasn't much else happening in this town. Didn't have any other professional sports except a AAA baseball team. And I don't even remember what they were back then. They might have been the Clippers back then. I don't know. But anyway, doesn't make any difference. We wanted to bring that in, and then we brought it. Joe Dye worked with me, the first commissioner, and we came up with the idea of memorializing the great players of the past. And we decided to do that to form a captain's club. People who have been very influential in the game of golf, throughout the game of golf for many years. So we started out with a captain's club, which was who's who in the game, and we're still who's who in the game today. And so that part has been good. It's continued to grow. We're honoring Ben Crenshaw this year, which is certainly very deserved, and we feel like I feel like the tournament has continued to grow each year. Nationwide was a great sponsor for us. Nationwide did a good job because we're really supporting that hospital. Nationwide is still involved in the tournament as a beneficiary, and they're still involved in a variety of things. But with Workday coming in and enthusiasm that Anil is showing for the tournament and for what we're doing, and I mean, to bring in the cast of people that we have for tomorrow is fantastic. I've only met 2 of the 3 Peyton boys, but now I'm going to meet all 3 Peyton boys tomorrow. Manning boys. I'm sorry, Peyton, Eli, and what's Cooper. That's right, Cooper. And I guess Cooper's got a son that's pretty good. I guess highest he would want to be looking at. But anyway, I think we've grown very well. I think we've continued to grow. But the game of golf itself, Rob, has grown. I mean, you look at every tournament that we keep having, they seem to be getting better every year. And not only are we getting better, but everybody else is too. So the competition for the players is getting better every year. We got a great field this year. We have no qualms about that. I mean, you're not going to get everybody's going to come and play, but because we've got so many good tournaments all around us, and but we've got a great field, and I think we've grown. Continue. I think Workday will help us grow beyond where we are and continue to grow the tournament as we've been trying to grow it.
Real quick, was there ever a question, was it always going to be Muirfield Village, the course? Did you ever think of connecting with Scioto where you grew up and have a tournament there, or was it, I'm going to build this course and this is where we're
No, I don't think Scioto was not equipped to do this to start with. Scioto is a wonderful golf course. I grew up there. I haven't seen the new one. I hope to slip down there this week and see it. But when we started this, well, let's go back. I can go back to 1966. We're sitting at the Masters. That was the year that when Bob Barton came down, and he flew down and died in a plane crash, he and his wife Linda. And I was sitting around with Ivor Young reflecting on what a great tournament the Masters was, and wouldn't it be great to bring something like this back to Columbus. And we didn't even think about Scioto. I said, I want Ivor to start looking for property. And he went around and looked for 10 or 11 different pieces of property found in Columbus. The first piece I looked at was this property right here. And it was for sort of the section of where 3, 5, 1, 2, sort of in there. Maybe it's about 100 and some acres. Then we added in another 100 acres, which is just on the north side of the Treshesky piece. And then we added in 1,100 and some acres I bought from a group in Cincinnati, which took us back, got 11 and 12, 15, 14, those holes. And ended up getting 1,156 acres or something like that. And we ended up saying, what do we want to do with this? Well, if I had my druthers, I probably wouldn't have had housing. But you couldn't possibly financially do it without it. So we did a public offering through the Ohio company for $9 million. Was what the offering was for, of which $2.45 million was for the golf course and clubhouse. $2.45 million to build a golf course and clubhouse. Well, I spent obviously the $2.45 on the golf course. I made a trade with the developer, and said, okay. I said, I want the golf course. You can have the development. I really wasn't interested in what was around the golf course. I wish I'd have saved some extra land for parking and so forth, because we ended up having to go buy extra land later. But we didn't do that. But you don't really realize what you're going to do to start with. And so I don't see what the devil was it. So anyway, we decided that they took that, and then I structured a deal with the membership that they had from 1974 till 2004 to buy the golf course back from me at the amount of money that I had in the land, which I don't mind telling you was $445,000. So the membership bought this golf course back from me for $445,000. That was back in the day when the Japanese were offering $100 and $200 million for golf courses, and I said, no, thank you. This is not going anywhere. It's staying right here. And so, and they approached me. So I said, no, I'm not interested in that. I'm interested in one thing. I'm interested in the memorial tournament and doing it properly. And so, and I wanted it to be membership. And the other thing is I structured so Jack Nicklaus couldn't make a profit from this. That's why I sold the club for what I did and why I didn't get into the development. I didn't want all the guys who were my contemporaries coming in here and saying, oh, look, Jack's profiting off of us. Well, I didn't want that. And so I can honestly open my mouth. The guys that I played golf against, Jack Nicklaus never had a penny. So that was all put together on purpose. Does that give you enough? That's the best off the top of my head. Okay.
With the lighting, it's hard for me to see if anybody has a question. If you would just put your hand up. Okay, we can go right here.
Jack, as you look at the talent that's on the PGA Tour right now, I mean, does it surprise you how good these kids are? And I mean, these young lions every week.
Well, I mean, it's unbelievable that you look back on the PGA Tour right now. When I played, I thought we had a pretty good group of players. Just before us was the Hogan, Snead, Nelson era. Then Arnold came along, and it was sort of dropped a little bit. Then Gary came along, and I came along, so we built it back up. Trevino, Watson, Weisskopf, Miller, etc. We had when I played, I thought we had a pretty darn good bunch of guys. Maybe 20 guys who could win a golf tournament. All of a sudden, the tour is it's not just a U.S. tour anymore. This is a world tour. And this world tour has guys coming from everywhere in the world that are the best players from everywhere in the world that are now making their living and living in the United States. And they're good. They're really good. And, Tiger kept them down for a while. And then, he kept winning every week and nobody could learn how to win. Well, also when Tiger got hurt, this is a while back. And when Tiger got hurt, all of a sudden these young guys, while Tiger was away for a couple of years, learned how to win golf tournaments. And that all of a sudden sort of maybe fueled some of these other young guys to say, hey, if these guys could do it, I could do it too. And right now, I think we have more good players in the game of golf on the PGA Tour than we have ever had in the history of the game. And I think it's wonderful.
18 majors, we thought Tiger might have a shot. I
think he might.
He might. With that said...
I would never count him out, incidentally, of anything.
With that said... do you ever sit back and just think about what you accomplished in your career? And I don't know.
No, I really don't.
I mean, how proud are you of your career?
And I don't mean that in a flippy way. What I mean is that I've never looked back on what I did as something. Golf's a game to me, and I played the game, and I played the game well. I enjoy the game. I love the game. Competition was what I played and what I really liked. And I loved being able to compete against these guys. And whether I walked away with 18 or 12 or 25, that was not important to me. What was important to me is that I prepared myself, I played well, and played a game the right way. Now, the other thing that was far more important to me actually to the game of golf was my family. I mean, to me, I was blessed with a good partner with Barbara, still am. She still puts up with me. Sometimes. She's back smiling, yes, sometimes. And so, I was blessed with that. I got 5 children, I got 22 grandchildren, I got 3 great-grandchildren now. And, that to me is my most important part of my life. And of course, sitting here, though, it's not because of my family. I'm sitting here because I made a few 4-foot putts. And, because none of this would have happened without making a few 4-foot putts. Maybe a few 3 20-footers too, maybe, along the way. But anyway, that's my most important thing. And I think that's what we've been doing, and what we've been doing the last with that, the last few years is the charitable, what Nationwide Children's Hospital has grown to be. Been our financial recipient from this tournament from day one. What we've done in Florida with Nicklaus Children's Hospital and in Miami and up and down the coast, and with Barbara, and it's changed my life. I've really enjoyed it. I've loved it. I spend a ton of time, on the charity stuff because I like it, and I love seeing the results, seeing these kids, and seeing how they are. Every tournament on the tour has this now. When we started, charity was not a big deal. Now charity is $2, $4, $8, $12, $15 million a year sometimes in these tournaments that go to help people. And golf has done this. Golf has been able to do that. No other sport can do what we've done.
Todd? I'm sorry, Doug, then Todd? Okay.
I had something else, Jack, but as much as I've heard you talk about competition, it just made me curious. Is there a difference in your eyes between your love of competition and your love of beating people, of winning?
Well, I think they're a little bit on the both. Doug, I love winning. Obviously, everybody loves to win. Nobody likes to lose. But the way I looked at, you come back to my 19 seconds in majors, and I look at the 19 seconds in majors, and I don't have any problem with those. I early on, I gave away the 60 Open at Cherry Hills. I then gave away the 63 British Open, and I shouldn't have given either one of those tournaments away. But they were both learning experiences for me that allowed me to learn from them and be better the next time that I came out. And I think that's really important. I think that you learn from what you do. And as long as I had properly prepared, as long as I'd done the best I could do, and if somebody beat me, well done. And that's sort of the way I looked at it, and I think that was the way to look at it.
And secondly, and what I was going to get around to eventually was there's been a great kind of disruption in golf, as I'm sure you're well aware.
Great what?
Just disruption in golf, a threat from Greg Norman's group that they're getting ready to start. There were some comments you had in a Michael Bamberger piece, and just being the first time we've seen you, I just want to know how that came about, that conversation with you came about, and what was your reaction to it?
Which conversation?
You mentioned
Michael called me and I talked to him.
Yeah, and he mentioned in the story that they had offered you a job that Greg now has. I'm just curious how that whole conversation with that group came about and your reaction to it.
They obviously called me, and we've had a contract on a golf course in Saudi Arabia for over a couple of years. Essentially the same. Essentially the same group. So when they called Jackie, my son Jackie organized the meeting, and they came into the Bears Club. We met. A couple of guys, John Reese and Paul Stringer from the Nicklaus companies were there because we were doing the golf course, and they proposed this thing to me. And I did it out of courtesy to them because we're doing a golf course for them. I had zero interest in it, in wanting to do something like that. I don't care what kind of money they would have thrown at me. My allegiance has been to the PGA Tour. I grew up with the PGA Tour. I helped found the PGA Tour as it is today. And my allegiance is there, and it's going to stay there.
Todd?
Jack, following up on that, with the intricacies of this Live Golf Tour and the PGA Tour's protection of its business, ultimately, what do you hope comes out of this that benefits the game, its players, and, of course, the fans?
Well, one of my big things has always been to grow the game of golf. If this helps grow the game of golf, what difference does it make to me? We talked earlier where our players are coming from. They're coming from all over the world. And, if it grows the game and benefits some people and spreads the game, fine. But let's, I think we've had enough of that. Let's talk about the Memorial Tournament. Silence.
Doug?
With Justin Thomas not playing this year, and you get players who can't make it every year. I'm just curious, given his connection with you, how much he likes spending time with you. It seems to me like he's trying to play the week before majors this year.
Well,
Just curious if he had a conversation with you.
Yep,
if he
JT called me.
came begging or.
Called Barbara, then he called me. And he called the boss first, because he knew that if he could get by her, he could get by me. And so, Nicklaus, you're laughing. Anyway, JT called, and he said, "Geez, I hate making this phone call." He says, "You know how much I love Muirfield, I love your tournament, I love what you do, and the things you and I have been involved in together." And I said, "I know that." He says, "But I tried something before the PGA tournament. PGA, I played the week before, and I won the tournament. And I said, I think I should do that again. I want to do that again to see if I said, well, I don't want to wish you bad luck, but I hope it's an unsuccessful experiment." But I said, no. I said, "I'm just kidding. Don't write that down. I shouldn't say that." I told him, I said, "JT, I understand that, I had the same situation when I was your age. Everyone wanted us to play everywhere. And, you can't play everywhere. And so I understand." I says, "I know that you'll be back." He says, so I just wish him good luck. Go play. I mean, I'm saddened by him not playing. I mean, he's from this area. His grandfather was Zanesville. They grew up in basically Kentucky, Ohio border or Indiana border, and he's been around this area, so he knows and likes our golf course. So but everybody can't play.
Chet?
Yeah, Jack. You've now redone this golf course and reimagined it to make it stronger, and at the risk of sort of getting away from that a little bit, but related to it, the USGA and the RNA, of course, are looking at the golf ball and equipment and so forth, and I know that it's going to impact Muirfield Village, Augusta National, wherever going forward. What would you like to see them eventually do? There's a comment period till September. I'm sure you probably have some thoughts.
I'm not even familiar with what you're talking about, but I will tell you that I have talked with the RNA and the USGA. And they both, and when Mike Wong came down and talked to me, I said, Mike asked me, he says, "What do you think?" I said, "I think your plan is the first time I've seen you moving forward in the right direction. I think your plan is sensible. And I think it'll work. It's just going to take a couple of years to get it in." And so we just have to. There's a million different ways the USGA or the RNA can get this done. I'm assuming you're referring to the golf ball, essentially.
Sure.
And they're finally actually doing something. And the problem is that it's going to take to about 2026 to implement everything, simply because of their agreements they have with the manufacturers. But they're good. They're getting there. I hope that I'm still above ground to look at it when it happens.
Alex?
Jack, what
Yeah, Alex.
happens if the PGA Tour isn't necessarily in line with what you're talking about, what the USGA and RA want to do, when they decide to have a local rule that basically allows players to play the equipment they're playing today? What would you feel about that, especially?
Alex, that's not my issue. My issue is that the PGA Tour doesn't make the rules of the game. The RNA and the USGA, if the PGA Tour wants to vary from that, and they haven't, I don't expect them to. So that's not for me to answer. I think that's a Jay Monahan question, and I think that Jay could answer that a lot better than I could.
Any other questions? Right in the middle. And then Steve.
Jack, now that sports gambling is legal in the state of Ohio and online sportsbooks will be operational in the near future, I'm curious, do you think that's a good thing for this event, that starting next year people will be able to place bets from their phone around the course? And do you personally plan to place any wagers on the Buckeyes this fall?
I'm telling you, I've placed my one and only bet on the game of golf. Do I? I mean, it's first of all, let me say, it's the way of times. And if we're part of it, I think they offered it to 9 organizations within the state of Ohio or something, and we were the one golf tournament, so we're involved in that. And if we don't do it, somebody else is going to do it, and it's rather to be involved in it where you control something rather than someplace you can't control. My one and only wager I made in the game, I was 20 years old. I was playing the U.S. Open at Cherry Hills, and my dad came to me and he said, Jack, he says, you're 30, I'm an amateur now. Okay, this is June, I'm getting married in July. He said, Jack, you're 35-1. He said, you want some of that? And Dad, I'll take $20 of that. So I took 20, he says, you want any place or show? I said, I'm not here for place or show. So I'm coming down the stretch at the U.S. Open as a 20-year-old amateur. I'm thinking about the $700 that I might make to go start our marriage. Well, I didn't win, so I didn't get the $700. I lost my $20 by one and only bet in golf.
Steve?
I hope I answered your question.
The Buckeyes, are you going to place any bets on them this fall?
I have never placed a bet on the Buckeyes. I just wish them well. I think I had dinner with Ryan the other night. First time I met Ryan. And what a nice young man. I guess I would call him a young man. And he got his head screwed on great. And he says he's looking forward to this year. He's going to have a good team.
Go right here, then right middle, and then back to Doug.
Jack, you had many more similar runs than Scotty Scheffler's been on lately.
Have what?
You've had many more good runs than Scotty Scheffler's been on lately. What is it like when you're on a run like similar to the one that Scheffler's on right now?
It's a whole lot of fun. Scotty's played really well. You know, he can't play everywhere, and he's a Texas guy. And I'd love to have had him here. He finished 3rd here last year. He'll be back. But it's when you're doing something like that, and you feel like, you know, it's such a great feeling that you're going out and you know that if you just go out and just play your game, you're going to be in the hunt at the end. That's pretty good, and that's where he is right now. He knows he's going to be somewhere near. If he gets his A game out there, he's going to probably win. Pretty good feeling. I loved it.
Hi, Jack, over here. You talk about the strength of the field and how important that is to this event, and I wonder if any players decide to move on from the tour and put their status in jeopardy, if that would risk their invitational status to this event.
I don't know what you're talking about. You better start over because I didn't catch any of what you were saying.
If a player opts to move on from the tour and join a competing tour,
Oh, okay.
does that put their invitation at risk at all to this event?
I don't think that's. I think that the PGA Tour will answer that. I don't think that's. I don't think that's my question, frankly. We live by the rules of whatever the PGA Tour is. That's what we do.
Doug, do you have another one? Over?
I just want to know why you're playing so much golf.
You know, honest to goodness, that's a pretty good question, Doug. That's probably the most important question I've had today. About 2 weeks ago, I took Jackie and J3, his son, and Charlie, one of his boys, up to Augusta. And I'd played a scramble and an odd 3 or 4 holes here and there. But inflammation has been my problem. And I'm getting most of the inflammation, seems for some reason, have gotten out of me. And so I said, okay, I'd like to play with you guys. Really? You going to play with us? I said, yeah. So I played 9 holes. I says, okay. He says, well, I said, we'll see you after. No, what do you mean? I'm going to play the back 9. So I shot the back 9. I whizzed it around and shot a slick 88, and without a birdie, and which I haven't made a birdie yet this year, incidentally. But I enjoyed it. And I said, well, I'm going to see if I can play again tomorrow. I played again the next day. So why am I playing? I don't know. I said, I'm tired of not playing, I think. I really love to play golf. I don't enjoy playing golf the way I've been playing, that's for sure. But when you start to feel a little bit better, and I even hit a few shots that were pretty good on Sunday out here. I had a tee shot out 17 and knocked it, 30 yards by those bunkers? From the ladies' tees. Excuse me, the forward tees. And so, I enjoyed it. I had a chance to shoot my age both days, and I choked. So, but I don't know why I'm playing. And I'm going to continue to play. You got to do something, for crying out loud. I've been sitting around feeling sorry for myself because I haven't been able to do anything. And, it's time to get out and do something.
Where was the inflammation?
Oh, everywhere. This arthritis and the swelling. My ankles were all swollen up, and I've gotten the swelling out of my ankles, which it's probably taken 20 pounds of water out of me. And so when you got inflammation everywhere, Doug, you just can't move. And so I'm doing very well. I feel better than I've felt in a long time.
Will you let us know when you make your first birdie this year?
You'll be the first to know. Okay.
Did somebody make an albatross at Augusta?
Oh yeah, I didn't even mention that. We played it on the second day, and we got to the 15th hole, and the boys played a mixture of front tees and back tees, going back and forth. I played as far forward. We don't have forward tees at Augusta. I don't know where Condoleezza Rice plays from, but she's got to play the same tees back here that the members play, and that's too long. Half the membership down there is over 80 years old. I don't know how they play the golf course. I'm serious, actually. It's tough. And so anyway, we got around to 15, and I said, guys, you don't want to play that new tee. I said, you'll be laying it up. So they played the back of the next tee up. And J3 had a really nice drive down there, and they had the pins in every tough pin placement you could put. Far left on 15, far left on 14. He birdied 14 too. And, far right on 12, as far back as you get it on 11. All the tournament. I don't know why. I should never tell them I'm coming there because they do that to me every time. And anyway, we got down there. He killed a drive down, played an 8-iron, hit just to the right of the pin. Ball trickled down, boom, into the hole. Everybody's cheering, yelling, so forth and so on. Went down, took our pictures by the Saracen Bridge. Does anybody know? I need a statistic. Has anybody made a 2 since Saracen did? I'm sure somebody had to, but I don't know.
An anonymous guy on Media Day in '93 made it, but nobody ever found out who he was because he probably wasn't supposed to be out there.
That could be well, but nobody else that I know of, right? J3's got it, Jackie.
All right, we've got time for 2 more. We'll go Alex and then come full circle
Alex?
with Rob.
Jack, can you, out of your 18 holes at Augusta, is there one shot that you can remember that was you looked at and said, "Wow, it's pretty nice"?
That's hard for me to find one. Let's see. That I thought were really good shots. Okay. I had one. I usually always played a pretty good shot at 16. I hit a couple shots at 16 were pretty good. Inside 20 feet, 15 feet. So never made any putts. Let's see. I think the round was really not very memorable, Alex.
And then the second question is what, I was at the PGA Seniors last week and talking to some guys about when maybe they might want to stop playing professionally. What was the thing that made you decide to make that decision?
I stopped making birdies. Pretty simple. Pretty simple. When you stop making birdies and shooting 60 something, it's time to go do something else. And I guess the last tournament I won was 1956. Or not 50, 96. That was a tradition. That was also the largest purse I ever won in a tournament. $150,000 first prize. biggest purse I ever had on the regular tour was the Masters in '86, 144. But anyway, I started to play it. I just was, I'd finished 5th or 10th or 25th or whatever it might be. And I just didn't really feel it was necessary to waste time out there doing that and take a place up from somebody else. You got a lot of young guys that are turning 50 that I call them young guys. And, it was time for them to come play. As I say, did I want to play an odd tournament here and there? Maybe, but I guess I played up till, the last tournament I played was obviously St. Andrews in 2005. I was 65. The senior tour prior to that, I might have played from 60 to 65. I may have played 3 or 4 tournaments. That'd be about it.
Rob?
Yeah, Rob.
Jack, Ben Crenshaw, co-honoree, who is the best putter you ever saw, played against, and what makes a player a great putter?
Well, I'll answer that question a couple ways. There's a lot of guys, not a lot of guys, but several guys. Crenshaw, Faxon, I suppose I would fall in that category. Palmer player, Watson. When a guy becomes a great player when he makes putts when he has to make them. And all those guys, including Ben and myself and everybody, made them when we had to make them. And that to me is what makes it's making a pressure. The thing that sort of guided my career, 1959, is that in the U.S. Amateur at Broadmoor, I had an 8-footer at the last hole to beat Charlie Coe 1 up. We were all even coming to the last hole, and I made that putt. Well, that told me that I could make a putt under pressure when it really counted for a significant event. So that to me was what was the most important putt I ever made. And then winning breeds winning. So when you do that, then you do it again, you do it again, you do it again. Pretty soon, you can't wait to get to the 18th hole and to do it again. And all those guys, they all picked their times, but they all did it at the time that they needed to do it. Now, to pick one of them, it was pretty difficult. I mean, I'm not going to pick myself, but I thought I was a pretty good putter. I'm not going to pick Arnold, but I thought Arnold was a pretty darn good putter. And I'm not going to pick Ben, but Ben was a pretty darn good putter. They were all good putters at different times and under different circumstances.
I don't think he had a whole lot of use for putting at the end. It kind of dropped off.
Hogan. I played with Hogan in 1960, and that was a period when he was sort of freezing over the ball. And he might stand there for 20 seconds over a putt and not move a muscle with the putter sitting on the ground behind the ball and then hit it. But he somehow got enough putts in the hole. He almost won the U.S. Open in '60 when I played, where I almost won. But he made a ton of putts, but he also missed a ton of putts. So and then I don't really remember. The last time I played with Hogan was the last round of the Masters in '66, where I won. And I don't remember what he did, but he played a really good round the day before to get himself in that position. But Hogan was he had to be a good player at times. I mean, he was not long. He was long, but not long by somewhat today's standards. But he figured out how to get it in the hole.
Did you ever have anything similar with putting where you're just kind of?
I did not.
Nice.
Where I couldn't draw it back against that. I never had any of that. I was very, very fortunate.
Yeah, one last question, and we'll finish up right there.
Jack, over here. How and why did you decide to take your preparation for majors to a higher level, and what was the first major you won where you thought, wow, my preparation for that was a big reason why I won?
Well, I go back to 1962. I played, and nothing against Greensboro, mind you, but I played because I enjoyed playing there. But I played Greensboro in '62 and didn't win the Masters. I finished 14th or something. I skipped Greensboro in '63 and won the Masters because I went in the week before and practiced at Augusta. '64, I liked Greensboro, so I went back to Greensboro. I didn't win the Masters. '65, I didn't go to Greensboro and went in the week before and prepared. And I won. I did the same thing in '66. How about that? So, I started looking at things like that, and sort of a light goes off, and you think about, this is what I did, and this is why, this is the result I got. A little bit like Justin Thomas. He wanted to play the week before. I don't think that's the proper preparation. Gary Player, 1965, he was up over at the house, and we were talking about Open at Belle Reve coming up. And I said, Gary, give yourself a chance. Go the week before. Go with me, and we'll go practice at Belle Reve and see what, So he did. He says, Jack, I can't afford to. He said, I'm over here for just a few weeks. I can't afford to give up a week and go practice. I said, if you win the U.S. Open, you can. So Gary went with me to Belle Reve, and sadly for me, he won. I wasn't in contention, though. I guess he beat Kel Nagel in a playoff or Kel by a shot, whatever it was. But anyway, so Gary never went back and did that again. I mean, Gary Player might have won more majors if he got back and prepared for it. But he was a young guy who still, he wanted to get back home to his family and so forth. I understand that. I understand that.
Were you surprised that other players didn't follow your lead and go into
Some do.
and play a couple of days? Because not many did.
No, some do now and did. They do it in a little different way. And if I couldn't, I had a lot of times I would have something that I really had to play or felt like I should play before a major. Well, I'd go in there, 2 weeks before, and I'd spend 3 or 4 days doing what I wanted to do then, get my preparation out of the way, and then, I played Westchester several times, which was before a U.S. Open. I don't remember whether I won after playing Westchester or not in the Open, but I did that, and I got to go to the Open first. I did that when I won at Oakmont, frankly. I went into Oakmont and played a couple of days before I went over to the Thunderbird, which was at Upper Montclair in '62, and I finished second at the Upper Montclair, and then I won the next week.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, thank you so much for your time. We look forward to a wonderful week.
Okay, gang. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
I think I may be going on.